It was a cold, rainy night when a man, tired from his adventures, chanced upon a wide, dry lakebed in a remote part of Death Valley. His name was Joseph Crook, and he had just discovered a mystery: moving stones. Okay, fine, it wasn't that dramatic, but you get the picture. Welcome to our channel, Mystery Lovers. Join us as we look at the 3 possible explanations to one of Death Valley's secrets, the sailing stones. 3. Unknown magnetic effect. Among the many theories propounded concerning the curious phenomenon of sailing stones is a school of thought that believes an unknown magnetic effect has something to do with it. One blogger writes, "Is the wreckage at Area 51 giving off a beacon in the form of a magnetic field to call its lost brother home?" This theory was related to the relative proximity of the location to the famous Area 51. This theory must have made some sense until 2 realities eventually broke through. The first is that the stones don't move in the same direction the whole way. Some take 90-degree turns, while others can turn all the way to slither back the way they came. Just before you start to reason that the magnetic pull must be a selective one that surrounds the entire area, as incredible as that may sound, the second reality immediately debunks it. The stones would have to have some form of metallic substance to respond to that magnetic pull for that to happen. And guess what? Yes, you guessed right. They are not. They are made of a composition of granite and dolomite. Analytical. If you think this theory is weird, wait till you hear the last one. 2. Scientific theory. Let's admit it. If there is ever any mystery anywhere, you could be sure to find scientists crawling all over it to spoil it for us. If there is an explanation for it, you can be sure science will get to the bottom of it. And so far, it would seem that science has broken through the racetrack play of mystery as well, with a more plausible explanation, at least of all the 3 possible theories discussed in this video. And so, right from the onset, scientists from as far back as the 1940s have been proposing theories to explain away the mystery of the moving rocks. No one had seen the rocks move through all of the experiments conducted and hypotheses made. A planetary scientist, Ralph Lawrence, conducted a domestic experiment to reveal exactly how the rocks move. He simulated the rock's position and the conditions that make them move. He did this by freezing a basalt pebble on a layer of water. The freezing was to get the water to form a thin layer of ice. He then took the pebble frozen in the ice and placed it in a tray filled with water, with sand forming its base. He adjusted one end of the pebble to dig a bit more in the sand and then went ahead to blow slightly against the pebble. And it did move, leaving a small trail behind it. Descriptive. In 2014, 2 cousin researchers, Richard Norris and Jim Norris, pulled off an incredible feat of capturing the movement of the rocks on camera. In their own words, they labeled their research the most boring experiment. Why? Because they had to wait for not less than 2 years to observe the stones move. Their experiment re-echoed Ralph Lawrence's simulation of the conditions needed for the stones to move. These include a light breeze, shallow pond, sunlight, a thin layer of ice. Their conclusion? When the dry lakebed was flooded and then frozen, at the appearance of the sun, the ice would begin to break into thin layers, form into the stones, and begin to move them at about 2 to 5 meters per minute over a slippery mud surface. This movement occurred as light winds of speeds of 3 to 5 meters per second blew against them. Informative. 1. Extra-terrestrial influence. Are the sailing stones pieces of a spacecraft that met its untimely demise during prehistoric times? A post from the Villains and Vaudevillians blog reads, "It is no surprise that people allude to such a theory. I mean, can you blame them? You see a stone right before you. You can't or have never seen it move, and yet there are tracks behind it for hundreds of feet, with some of the stones even making turns and some moving in all directions, including turning back the way they came. How do you explain that without thinking about some form of extraterrestrial involvement?" This sort of speculation was most popular in the first decades. It was discovered somewhere in the early 1900s when science wasn't so advanced, and the various hypotheses couldn't exactly give any tangible explanation. And as if the fuss this theory had created was not enough, it was now motivating people to attempt and even succeed in stealing some of these stones to experience its supposed unique abilities. informative. Some honorable mentions battle to be accepted as Sailing Stone's facts include dust devils, hurricane-force winds, and slick algal films. Do any of these explanations lessen the intensity of the mystery of the Sailing Stones for you? Let us know in the comments. Do like and share this video. You can watch this video to discover more mysteries in Death Valley. See you in the next episode. End screen video. Death Valley National Park. Top 5 things you can't miss when visiting.